Good morning. Welcome to the south of France. Let's do a bikepacking trip. Yeah, it's very wise to do that last bit on foot. That took some doing, that last bit. Today I'm back in France with my friends Chris and Vicky at the Pyrenees.cc, and we've just started our bikepacking trip. So we're starting from their farmhouse near Arles-sur-Tech in France, and then we are cycling to the city of Girona across the border in Spain. It's going to be about 250 kilometers, and we'll be doing it over the course of the next 4 days. We've just joined the Voie Verte, which is the cycle path that runs down from Arles-sur-Tech to Amélie-les-Bains, and our route today is actually down to the seaside town of Bagnols-sur-Mer. We'll actually hit the Mediterranean and see the sea today. The distance is going to be about 70-75 kilometers. And this first part that we're doing is pretty much downhill, but then all told we're going to have about 600 meters of climbing today, so not desperately hard, but not super easy either. The sign actually says cyclists feet on the ground, and I've come a cropper on this little descent before. I broke my chain rings trying to climb up it. It's 20%. It's absolutely horrendous. So I'm going to walk down. Bravo. Bonjour. Bravo. That kind of makes me look bad, doesn't it? All right, Steve. Oh yeah. Riding with me today, I've got some old friends. I've got Graham and Barbara from the UK. I've got Alan from Scotland, and we've also got Steve from Vancouver in Canada, also known as Cycling Vancouver. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, and you can check out his channel. C'est le pont de Monsieur Eiffel. Looks like they can't resist taking a few photos. It's a pretty cool bridge. Bonjour. Now, the more eagle-eyed of you may be wondering, if we're on a bikepacking trip, where is all of our luggage? Well, we're not cavemen, we're not camping or anything, we're staying in hotels, and our luggage is being moved by car for us. So we're just concentrating on enjoying the ride. Oh, I do love freshly laid tarmac. It's like butter. The joys of riding in France, vineyards and mountains, fantastic. You all right there, Barbara?
Fine. Yeah, this is a beautiful bit of road, though it's almost so good that with the crosswind I felt myself sliding a bit. And it's a beautiful surface like most of these French roads we're on.
I used to watch a TV series when I was a kid called White Horses. I believe that was French as well, just like that horse there. It's been very dry in this part of France for months on end. And up until, I think, yesterday, there was like a fire warning and stuff. And there was some doubt about riding on this particular cycle path. Apparently, if we were caught on it, it would have been €1,000 fine, but they lifted the ban yesterday. So luckily we're able to use it today and avoid a climb. Ça fermé.
No wonder they're charging.
Apparently that door is 1,000 years old.
This must be Rue de l'Église, right?
Yeah. We're just looking for somewhere to get some refreshments now. We thought we'd found a nice little boulangerie, but it was closed unfortunately. But Chris has found somewhere else and we're just on the way there now.
They must use it during the harvest as well, so probably not worth going down there at the beginning.
Refreshments done. I had a very nice chicken baguette and a bottle of Diet Coke, and now we're back on the road. We're cycling on the new Eurovelo wheat route, so that's the Eurovelo 8 route. And apparently this is a 7,600 kilometre route that goes all the way around the Mediterranean. We're obviously just following a small part of it today, but it starts in Cadiz in Spain and ends up in Greece somewhere. So it's one long cycle route. And there, boys and girls, just through the trees is our first glimpse of the Mediterranean Sea. Unfortunately, it's not looking quite as good as it could today because of the overcast skies. Normally, that's a beautiful azure blue. Looks like we've got quite a climb ahead of us, 2 kilometres, and there's some severe gradients as well, right at the end of our ride. I'm not sure where everyone's gone now. We've all kind of split up on this climb, and I've just got to a junction, so I think I'll wait for Chris to catch us up and then see which way we've got to go. Well, there we go. That's me in Bagnols-sur-Mer, 80 kilometres and about 950 metres of climbing, so quite a ride in the end. But yeah, we're here. Need to get to the hotel, have a rest, and do it all again tomorrow. Welcome to day 2 of our epic bike packing trip. We're waking up this morning in the French town of Bagnols-sur-Mer, and our route today is going to take us up over the Spanish border, and we'll be finishing our ride today in the Spanish town of Roses. So total of 55 kilometers, but we do have 750 meters of climbing, so it's going to be quite a tough day. Now, unfortunately, yesterday we did have a little incident. As Steve was descending into Bagnols-sur-Mer, he crashed out, and long story short, he's now in Perpignan hospital. When the crash happened, fortunately Chris was with him. I went back and tried to help as best I could, but Chris had already called the ambulance, which arrived within 10 minutes, so I was very, very impressed with that. And right at this moment, he's in Perpignan hospital with broken ribs and a fractured clavicle. So I don't think he's going to be joining us for the rest of the ride. He's spending the night in the hospital, and I hope he's back on his bike soon. Thankfully, his injuries aren't any worse than that, but it really was a very, very unfortunate incident, and I hope Steve recovers very, very soon. Literally just left the hotel, straight into a 2-kilometer climb. There we go, that's the first 2.5 kilometers done, and the first 60 meters of climbing, so only another 53 kilometers and 700 odd meters left to go. Looks like the sun is coming out, so we might well get some nice views of the Mediterranean looking really blue. This is the town of Srebre, and I think it's the last town in France before we start climbing the climb up to the border. I don't know if you can see that very well from here, but that's the train yard down at Srebre, and apparently that's where all the French and the Spanish regional trains go in, and in that yard they have to kind of lift them off the wheels and put them down on a different size of wheels, because apparently the French and the Spanish regional trains don't use the same width wheels. Now I'm in France. Now I'm in Spain. Now I'm in France. Now I'm in Spain. And half and half.
Vous avez bien caché le moteur, hein?
C'est, les moteurs sont dans mes cuisses là.
Bien caché, hein?
Mais il y a un moteur dedans là?
Électrique. Oui, mais il est caché, on le voit pas.
Ah, le derrière là?
Ouais, comme pour le Tour de France. C'est caché dans le tube.
Et dans le bidon?
Eh oui, c'est dans le bidon. Mais tu bois pas.
Non. Seulement de l'eau. Mais les bières après.
Ah oui, après, oui.
On va aller à Rosès. Quand on arrive à Rosès, on boit beaucoup de bière.
Un peu de mousse.
Oui, un peu de bière.
Un peu de mousse, j'ai compris. Un minimum.
This is Port Boo on the Spanish side here, and we've only been in Spain for about 2.5 kilometers, and it already feels very different from the French side. The buildings are different, and obviously people are speaking Spanish, but the road from here is going to get tough again, because so far the profile for this particular bit looks like two pyramids. So we've done the up and we've done the down, and we've got another up and another down to do. So let's push on. Okay, 3.6 kilometers of climbing now. Again, regroup at the top. Oh, that was tough. So there we are, top of the Col de Frar at 202 meters. My computer's saying 207 meters, so it's not that far off. But that's the last tough climb for today. We still have some sort of ups and downs and another 30 kilometers to go before we get to the hotel, but hopefully it should get a little bit easier from here. There we go, that's the Spanish Costa Brava again. This is the little village of Colera, and the plan is to stop here for some refreshments, and then we'll make our merry way on again. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of looking at the upcoming profile, and there's another climb. Looks like another 200-300 meter climb again. Oh, it's going to be tough. Looks like one of these nice typical kind of Spanish squares. That's our refreshment stop over. I had a nice bottle of fizzy mineral water and a beer naughty, I don't mind. And now we're just about to leave the little village here of Colera and get back on the road. Blimey, that was a short, sharp little climb there, 600 metres or so. Blimey. According to my Karoo, this is the final climb of the day. We're climbing 71 metres over 2.2 kilometres. So it doesn't sound too bad. Oh my word, that was tough. Not only did we have the wind in our faces, but although the average gradient was only 3%, there were sections there at sort of 1-2%, but then obviously you make that up later on in the climb with things like 7, 8, 9%. Woo. We made it though, didn't we? In theory, let's hope so.
There's at least one little rise coming up soon, but it doesn't count as a summit.
I can probably handle that. Well, that's us in Rosés, and that last 10-15 kilometres we had the headwind all the way. It was tough. There was a little rise there, oh my god. But yeah, we're here now. Time for a shower, something to eat, and maybe even a cold beer. Well, that's it. We've made it to the hotel in one piece. This is home now for tonight. Now that I'm in the hotel and I've had a chance to shower and relax a little bit, I can tell you that today's ride was 57 kilometers, and according to my crew it was 826 meters of climbing, so a fairly tough ride, and I certainly felt it. There were some very long, very tough climbs on that, but it was all good fun. Tomorrow is another day. We're cycling from here to somewhere a little bit further down the coast. So yeah, another day, another ride.
But the first official meeting point would be at the Greek ruins at the hotel, yeah.
Okay, in the place called
leonardmlee.
Day 3 of our bike packing tour. We're just leaving the town of Roses and we are now heading for the town of Temeru. And the distance today is 65 kilometers, but we do have a choice of routes. Basically, we can take a flatter route that has 280 meters of climbing, or we can take a slightly more scenic one with cliffs, and that has about 420 meters of climbing, but we don't have to decide that until we're about 50 kilometers in. Looks like we're going through an area that grows a lot of apples. Now, although officially we are in the north of Spain here in the northeast, it is actually Catalunya, and the people have a very distinct culture and speak Catalan. It's a bit like a region like Scotland or Wales in the UK, and indeed, as we've seen on a couple of graffiti and signs, some people here in Catalunya believe that Catalunya is not actually Spain, and my understanding is that they've even had a referendum whether they wanted to become part of their own nationality, you know, their own country, or remain part of Spain. As far as I'm aware, they voted to stay part of Spain. Looks like we've got some very gentle gravel action going on. But if they can do it in the Tour de France, I'm sure we can do it here on the Tour of the Costa Brava.
It's quite nice gravel. It's better than the road that it had that resurfacing. I didn't like that.
No.
This is meant to be this way, and it's quite pleasant to go over.
You've got a gravel bike, so it's kind of made for it.
Well, it is. But you see, I have all the advantages.
Looks like we found an orchard of very nice looking apples. Green on that side, red on that side. Well, there's only a small little chain there. You can nip over and do a bit of scrumping. This is the village of Saint Pierre Pescador, which I think is St. Peter the Fisherman. And it's Sunday morning, and if it's like any of the other little Spanish towns that I've ridden through on a Sunday morning, it's going to be pretty quiet. You may have noticed that we've been joined by Chris now. He's kind of been doing duties going backwards and forwards to Perpignan Hospital to look after Steve. But he's managed to join us for today's ride for a bit. And we've just arrived in the town of Escala. So that's the old Greek jetty.
We'll ride past it in a minute.
Apparently that's the remains of an old Greek jetty. This was the first place the Greeks landed here in Spain back, how long ago, Chris?
Sorry, I don't know. I'll tell you on the second.
We'll just make something up. 50,000 years ago. They won't know. I'll edit that bit out.
Did you know that was 6th century BC?
Was it? 6th century BC? So correction to the Greek jetty, it wasn't actually 50,000 years old, and I doubt they brought their dinosaurs with them because it is only 600 BC. Oh, there's some ruins over there as well. Are they 50,000 years old, Chris? This is the town of Escala proper, and we've just stopped here at the beach for refreshments. I'll just turn around quickly, and I don't know if you can see it over there, but there's some white buildings, and to the right of those white buildings, that's where we started this morning. That's the town of Roses. Well, after a very nice meal stop, we're back on the road again. And unfortunately it started raining. Got my gilet on, got 35 kilometers to go, which translates to about hour and a half, hour 40 minutes of cycling. Yep, typical. Fortunately, the rain didn't last too long. Got another 25 k's to go, I think, until we get to where we're going. Hopefully it'll hold off until then. I used to know a very nice Danish girl called Ulla. The weather seems to be all over the place. One minute it's bone dry, then the next minute it's wet. But that has influenced our decision on our choice of route. We are taking the flatter route, and the thinking there is we don't want to be going down any long descents in the wet on roads that hasn't had rain for quite a while. Last few kilometers of today's ride, and the wind is just absolutely killing me today. Real strong headwind at the moment. Can't wait to get there. There we go, that's today's ride done. 64 kilometers and 541 meters of climbing. Can't believe it, because it was mostly flat, the first bit, and then the last bit kind of kicked up with that headwind. But I'm jolly glad to be at the hotel. I'm going to have a well-deserved shower and a cold beer. That's the view from our hotel. If you looked up Costa Brava in a dictionary, you'd see a picture of that. Day 4 and our final day on this trip, but unfortunately it's taken another unexpected turn. We've already got Steve in the hospital in Perpignan, but hopefully he will be coming out either later today or tomorrow, depending on how pleased the doctors are with his progress. But then, sadly for me, on the run into Roses the day before yesterday, I felt something bite me on my inner thigh. It was obviously some sort of insect. I rode yesterday but when I woke up this morning, I could see that my leg was swollen and the area around the bite does look very infected, very red and very angry. And I'm also starting to feel a little bit sort of coldy, a little bit fluey, and I'm not taking that as a good sign. So my job this morning is to try and find a pharmacy or a medical centre to get that looked at. And that obviously means that I won't be riding today. But the good news is that Barbara, Graham and Alan will still be continuing on to Girona without me. Well, I wasn't really expecting that this morning. I went to the pharmacy to have my bite looked at, and when they saw it, they said I needed to go to the medical centre, so I've just done that. The doctor there took one look at it, said that I had cellulitis, which is a pretty bad infection. So she gave me a couple of injections, and now I'm off to the chemist with a prescription for some antibiotics. Okay, that's my visit to the chemist over. They've given me quite a cocktail of drugs. Have a look in there. So there's antibiotics, antihistamines, cortisol, all sorts of things. Quite a complicated regime. Got to take antibiotics for a week. Okay, back in the van, and we are now on our way to Girona to meet Barbara, Graham and Alan, who cycled on ahead, and they're already there pretty much. So yeah, it's a quick dash into town and meet up with them.
Take your look, my cable, we'll take as many as possible. Because I'm putting mine to in there as well.
How was the ride, Barbara?
Fine, very good.
Yeah?
And I have certainly great admiration for Alan getting up that slope on muscle power. It was quite some. It was quite some hill. There was some bits. It got up to 10 on a number of occasions, and it says an average of 4.1. But oh boy, that I'm not quite sure what their maths is like.
No. But I think what happens is, you know, like I was saying the other day, if it's saying 4% average, yes, and you're riding for a kilometre at 1%, you've got to make up for that somewhere.
Indeed, but there didn't seem to be many of those.
Oh.
So I am surprised it was a 4, but it must have been, because so there must have been enough. And there was just 1 or 2 bits where you went down again, which makes matters worse because you've gone down before you have to go up again. And of course that affects the averages enormously.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was good, and we all got to the top. And
how was it, Alan?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the 9 and 10% bits that much, but it was very typically Mallorcan in its style.
Good.
You know, just weaving up and weaving up and weaving up, just a little steeper than we were used to in Mallorca.
So Mallorca is like Catalan then?
Yeah.
Because we aren't in Mallorca, we're in
Catalonia.
Catalonia.
What did you think, Graham?
I thought it was great. Great there. We got the best of the weather. Yeah.
Good morning. Day 5, and I'm walking the streets of Girona by day. You know you've got to be in a cycling city when even the local opticians feature cycling sunglasses. A quick update on everybody. Thankfully, Steve is now out of hospital. Chris went up to Perpignan and got him out yesterday, and he joined us last night for the meal and that. He's still in a lot of pain, but he's doing okay, so hopefully he'll be back on his bike and being his usual self in about 4 weeks' time. As for me, my insect bite has become considerably better after taking the antibiotics. I'm still up to riding, so I'm just going to take another day of rest. Graham, Barbara and Chris have gone out for a ride this morning, and they're doing about 50 kilometres, so I'm free to just sort of walk around and explore Girona. A couple of days ago I was watching a video on a channel called Path Less Pedalled about the dangers of not obeying the rules of the road on a bike here in Girona. Basically, if you're caught breaking them, you get faced with a very heavy on-the-spot fine, 200 euros or so. And I found the video very useful, and the chap that runs it, Russ, actually lives here in Girona, so I'm just going now to meet him for a coffee.
Always press record.
Yes. So here I am with Russ from Path Less Pedalled. We've had a nice coffee. So Russ, just tell my viewers a little bit about your channel.
Yeah, we have a channel that's focused kind of more on gravel and bike touring and the alternative side of cycling, for lack of a better term. So the very non-competitive, non-racing side of cycling.
It's very good. Go check it out. Well, that was great meeting up with Russ there. Very nice chap. And if you are into that kind of quirky, gravelly cycling thing, and even if you're not, his channel's very much worth having a look at. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Can't even spell. So I've just come to the famous Eat, Sleep, Cycle just to see what the deal is. I've come with Alan as well to check it out. It certainly smells nice in here.
It does.
Yeah.
Quite like that. Yeah. Of course, there's no price on that.
No. If you need to ask the price, you can't afford it.
Exactly. Oh, look, they've got
The
SP
cleats.
lights, yeah.
Well, they've certainly got some very nice clothing in here. Very trendy colours. Equally high prices to match. But fortunately, I doubt there would be a single item of clothing in here that would even fit me.
Socks would.
Socks, yes. And shoes, maybe.
Yeah.
And even then, I think it would be a push because I'm a wide fit.
In that case, you want leg shoes because they got an extra wide fit shoe.
This is the bikey bit, obviously. Definitely smells like a bike shop. All that rubber. So what were you saying, Alan, about this colour of bike?
Oh, it's the colour du jour.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Burnt orange.
Burnt orange. Not just for bikes, there's a lot of cars are that colour. Vauxhall have got a burnt orange. Nissan have got a burnt orange as well. Very trendy. So wait until next year and then buy it because it'll be something else by then.
Yeah.
It'll be lilac or something like that.
Yeah, sky blue pink or something. Well, that's the tour over, and we're now back in France at Chris and Vicky's farmhouse. And a quick update on everybody. Graham and Barbara have just left. They're driving back to the UK, and Alan flew back yesterday. He's already back in Scotland as we speak. And the good news is that Steve is recovering well in Girona. He's managed to get an early flight back to Canada. He had planned to stay for an extra 9 days, but obviously he can't ride his bike now, so he's going back home early. And as for me, my leg has healed very well, thankfully, to the antibiotics and everything. I'm hoping to get back on the bike when I get back to the UK, but that's obviously weather dependent. I'm flying back a little bit later this afternoon. So that's it, the tour's over. It's been absolutely wonderful. We've seen some amazing things. We've done some incredible rides. I particularly liked the bit where we were climbing up out of France and crossing over the international border there and into Spain, and that beach at Timaru was just incredible. It was just so beautiful, and yeah, it was just amazing. I had a fantastic time. I think everybody enjoyed their rides, and we're all looking forward to coming back again another time and doing it all over again. Obviously, I was a little bit upset at not being able to complete the ride myself on that last day, but that's another ride for another day. And if you'd like to do a ride like this yourself, then I'll include a link to the Pyrenees.cc website in the description below, and you can have an adventure like this all of your own.